We usually think of our kidneys as just filters, right? But they are so much more than that. They're actually the body's master chemists, working 24/7 to keep our internal world in perfect harmony. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how they manage this incredible balancing act. So let's just start with a wild fact. Did you know that about 60% of your entire body weight is just water? But here's the thing, that water isn't just sloshing around in one big puddle. No way. It is meticulously organized, separated into different compartments that all have their own unique job to do. So the big question is, how in the world does our body manage this massive internal ocean? Well, the answer is just fascinating. It's all about fluid compartments and some really clever hormonal signals. And that brings us to our very first key idea, the 60-40-20 rule. Think of this as the basic blueprint for all the water inside of you. Okay, so this diagram really lays it all out. Remember that 60% of your body is water? Well, 2/3 of that water, which works out to 40% of your total body weight, is actually tucked away inside your cells. We call that the intracellular fluid, or ICF. The other third, which is 20% of your body weight, is on the outside of your cells, and that's called the extracellular fluid, or ECF. Simple, right? Now, this separation is absolutely crucial. Why? Because the chemical vibe inside our cells is totally different from the outside. The fluid inside your cells is packed with potassium. Meanwhile, the fluid outside is swimming in sodium. Keeping this balance, potassium in, sodium out, is one of the most fundamental jobs in the body. It's essential for literally everything, from sending nerve signals to making your muscles contract. So, who's in charge of this whole complex operation? Well, the main bosses are your kidneys. You can think of them as this incredibly advanced, smart water treatment plant, and they get a little help from some key chemical messengers that we call hormones. And if we zoom in, we see the real workhorse of the kidney, the nephron. You've got about 1 million of these tiny powerhouses in each kidney, and each one is constantly doing 3 things. First, filtration. It pushes fluid and junk out of the blood. Second, reabsorption. It smartly pulls back all the good stuff the body wants to keep, like water and glucose. And third, secretion. It actively boots out any remaining waste into what becomes urine. It's a non-stop cycle. Now get this. Your kidneys filter about 180 liters of fluid every single day. That is enough to fill a bathtub. It's just mind-boggling. So with that much fluid constantly being pushed out of the blood, how on earth do they know when to hit the brakes and save water to keep you from getting dehydrated? That's where our first hormone hero steps in. Anti-diuretic hormone, or ADH. When you get a little dehydrated, your blood gets more concentrated with salts. Your brain senses this immediately and releases ADH. As you can see here, ADH then travels down to the kidneys and basically shouts, "Hey, hold on to the water." It makes parts of the kidney called the collecting ducts more porous, so precious water can get reabsorbed right back into your system. Okay, so ADH has water covered, but what about that all-important salt balance, especially the sodium we were talking about? How do the kidneys handle that? For that job, we need our second hormone, aldosterone. See, when your blood volume or sodium levels get low, aldosterone gets released. Its main mission is to tell the kidneys to grab sodium and pull it back into the body. And here's the magic trick. Where salt goes, water always follows. So by saving sodium, the body automatically saves water too. This little maneuver helps restore both your sodium levels and your blood volume, which is key for keeping your blood pressure stable. All right, so let's put all this theory into practice. We're going to look at a quick case study to see how it all comes together, because this is where all this physiology becomes so important for doctors in the real world. So let's set the scene. You've just crushed a big bag of salty potato chips. We've all been there. What exactly happens inside your body in the minutes and hours that follow? Well, that huge hit of salt makes your blood plasma more concentrated, and it also increases the volume. Your body's reaction is basically, whoa, that's way too much salt. It immediately tells its salt-saving systems to take a break. The kidneys cut back on making something called renin, which leads to less aldosterone. And less aldosterone means the kidneys stop reabsorbing so much sodium. The end result? All that extra salt gets flushed out in your urine, and your body gets back to its happy, balanced state. So how can we check to see how well the kidneys are actually doing their job? Well, in medicine, we use a measurement called renal clearance. It's basically a report card for your kidneys. It tells us exactly how good they are at clearing a substance out of your blood. It's a super important indicator of kidney health. And we can actually calculate it. It's a pretty straightforward process. First, you measure how much of a substance is in the urine and how much is in the blood. Second, you measure how much urine the person is producing over time. And finally, you just plug those numbers into this simple formula. The number you get tells you, in milliliters per minute, exactly how efficient the kidneys are. But hold on, because the kidney's job as master chemist doesn't end with water and salt. Not even close. They're like a multi-talented command center with a whole bunch of other critical jobs you probably never even knew about. I mean, just look at this list of hidden talents. We've talked about their role in blood pressure, but did you know they also produce a hormone called erythropoietin? That's EPO, which tells your bone marrow to make more red blood cells. They also activate vitamin D to keep your bones strong. And they can even make new sugar for energy if you've been fasting for a long time. They are truly amazing organs. Okay, let's bring this all home. Why is it so important to understand all this super detailed physiology? It all comes down to the clinical connection. Because by understanding how these fluid compartments, hormones, and clearance rates all work together, doctors can diagnose and treat conditions that affect millions and millions of people. Is a patient dehydrated? Is their blood pressure too high? Are their kidneys starting to fail? The clues are all written in the language of renal physiology. And this quote just sums it up perfectly. The urinary system, with the kidneys right at the center, really is the body's water treatment plant, working nonstop to maintain that perfect internal balance that scientists call homeostasis. Think about this for a second. Your kidneys filter your entire blood supply about every 40 minutes. That's more than 30 times every single day. So knowing just how hard they work to manage your own internal ocean, what's one simple thing you can do today to help them out? Maybe it's just drinking an extra glass of water,